Hello my friends and welcome to another indie game devlog for my game Surviving Tonight, which is now available on Steam. It just released this last week and it's had a really good start, and I wanted to dive back in and show players that I'm not done updating the game. There's plenty of updates coming to it, including an amazing new weapon, the Freeze Ray Blaster, which essentially lets you freeze the undead and turn them into ice cubes, and then pretty much like Sub-Zero, just shatter them into cubes. Let's hop in and take a look at some game footage.
I suppose I should say, my friends, if you haven't seen Surviving Tonight before, if this is your first devlog for the game, it's a true top-down perspective indie survival horror game that I've been developing over the last year and just released. And this weekend, the first week after launch, I pushed out a new build which has a lot of fixes and improvements to the game. One of those, if we go to our crafting bench here, is a brand new weapon. I intend to add a lot of new weapons and things to craft over time in future updates. This is the Freeze Ray Blaster, and we'll go ahead and craft one of those and pick it up here. And essentially this thing expels like liquid nitrogen in this gas form, and essentially lets you freeze the enemies into ice cubes, whether that's the undead or the human enemies that you encounter in the game as well. So we'll go ahead and take a shot with it. Check this out. Nice. You can see that the zombie's been frozen solid, has stopped moving. Now he will thaw out here pretty quickly, and it doesn't do any direct damage. However, if I go bite and attack the zombie while they are frozen, they'll shatter, and it's essentially a one-hit kill at that point. So with that being said, let's go up into the graveyard and see if we can't freeze a few of these guys in place. So while this doesn't immediately kill enemies, if you're surrounded by a horde, it can be a great way to kind of get out of the area. Now this doesn't use any specific kind of ammo, it just has a durability. So if you look at the top left of the screen, I can only essentially use 30 shots of this before it'll break. And just like any other weapon in the game, it will break, so you'll have to keep an eye out for that. Yeah, this can make crowd control of these zombies really nice. And now we can go here with our AR. Pretty much pump through, and we've managed a healthy crowd of the undead relatively easy. Oh, and we got this big boy here. Stop in your place. We'll go ahead and punch him. Yeah, there we go. So just some other notes on what was updated in this latest version, and really the first post-release patch. Many quality of life improvements. If I take this knife and stab stuff until it's about ready to break here. Okay, so you'll see that my knife is going to break in one more hit. It's just about done. If I hit a wall or something, it's going to shatter. Now what would normally happen to do that, normally this inventory slot would stay here and you'd kind of be stuck on an empty inventory slot. However, now it automatically, when a weapon breaks, changes to your fist, so that if you're in the middle of combat and your weapon breaks, you'll automatically start punching the enemy, and that can make life way less frustrating for players. I've also adjusted the spawn rates for loot. There's a lot more loot in the game now. I do want the game to be challenging and really something hardcore for the survival fans out there. However, I've noticed a number of people playing through the game that get stuck without enough water to survive, really, or enough ammo or food or whatever it is. And so I got to be really careful that I don't overcorrect, but I am trying to improve the game balance and really reward players for exploring so that they're finding more loot around the world. Kind of a silly thing, but and I don't know how I didn't catch this at release, but when you pause the game, the zombies don't actually follow you and attack you, so you're safe while the game is paused. A little bit embarrassed to admit that when the game launched, that was actually not in place. The zombies would still follow you and attack you while the game was paused, which they no longer do. However, when you're in your inventories, as the game is designed, they will still follow you, they will still attack you. So inventory management has to factor in whether or not you are in the presence of enemies, which can be deadly in such a case, which encourages you to still find places that are safe, when you're managing your inventory or eating your food or whatever it is. update also fixes a number of bugs that were found early on. I kind of knew that when the game released, people would find a new way to break it, and that's a good thing. I'm fortunate that I don't want there to be any bugs in my game, but it's bound to happen, and luckily this patch fixes all sorts of bugs. Like the game not starting in full screen if it's not focused and such forth. There's various map improvements. Some of these early maps that I designed were pretty tight corridors, and now they've just been fleshed out a little bit and a little bit easier to navigate. So there is that. Surviving Tonight is now available on Steam. You can go check it out. There will be a link in the description. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments. I'm focusing on the next update already. I want to push it out in the next week. I'm hoping to add more crafts, more weapons to the game. I'm thinking about adding a portal gun. Let me know if you want to see that or anything else like a rocket launcher or maybe bow and arrows and such forth. And that guy broke my fist, luckily. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the game or what you've seen of it. And maybe it's for you, maybe it's not, but it's something I'm pretty passionate about. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future devlogs and whatever my next project will be, and future updates to this game as well. I'll talk to you guys again, and as always, later.